is quite amazing.
That's not what your
voice
can do for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Say it right off the top of my head.
I don't know how you can't.
I
don't know how
Nelly
you can't.
Furtado and Timbaland had some hits.
Well, it's
had some deep cut hits too.
Right. Because I'm like a bird. I was not there for it.
It's whatever.
Yeah. But then like Maneater and Say It Right and a couple of these others, I was like, whoa. What's up, Nelly Furtado?
Me and my friend Willie, we are obsessed with Morning After Dark. Have you heard that one?
I don't know if I've
they're
heard
just
that one.
weird. They're weird little songs that didn't go anywhere.
But they're awesome.
They're awesome.
I'll have to look that up. That's what I'm saying.
That time of the season beat.
Is
I'll have
so
to listen
good.
to Say It Right.
It's so good.
Maybe you can do it on the podcast in the edit.
Yeah, I'm
just like Time of the Season by Zombies beat.
I'm gonna
boom,
totally.
And then Timbaland. It's just gonna be like boom, yeah.
It's pretty much exactly it.
Timbaland just Welcome to the Fast Ones show.
Welcome to the Fast Ones.
My name is Max, and I'm here with Mike.
Yo, what's up?
And today we're talking about motorsport. In case you didn't know,
always
we love talking about the motorsports.
Sports.
The Formula One. We sometimes talk about Haas. We used to be the Haas boys, but if you're still new, we are now the Fast Ones.
Yes.
And we are going fast and hard at every single topic.
And as we disclosed every week, and we will continue, we're still Haas fans.
We're still Haas fans.
That doesn't change.
Yeah. If you missed last week, we even have our new correspondent in the Haas chat.
Exactly.
He gave us a nice rundown, and we're stoked for the upgrades coming to Coda.
Definitely. And go back and listen if you didn't listen. To catch on to some deep dirt.
Yeah. Quick updates. We're on Spotify. I don't know why I'm doing this at the top of the show.
No, let's do it.
We're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple. We're on Instagram at fastones.us.
Right.
If you want to go to our website, www.fastones.us.
That's the URL.
Yeah, that's the URL.
The link in bio.
Yeah, and we are on YouTube.
Yes.
That is the big one.
Can't stress that enough. We have a show.
We have a real life show. Mike
show.
has made an amazing, I'm looking at camera 1, 2, 3, with this amazing studio.
Yes.
And we have little knickknacks and Easter eggs. And so if you are just listening to this and you want to see the Easter eggs, get on YouTube. Check us out.
There's one over my shoulder that's from a certain 1980s movie that I found in a box that is, I'm still amazed as it is as good of condition.
Technically 90s, isn't it?
Oh, maybe. Was it?
I think 1990, 91.
Oh, let's find out.
But we're not going to say the name of the movie.
We're not going to say what it is.
So if you're listening, you have to get onto the YouTube.
Dang it.
And see
it's
what...
92.
Yeah. See what piece of iconic memorabilia Mike has on the shelf.
On the shelf over my shoulder. So
that's fun.
You'll have to watch to
Little
find
knickknacks.
out.
All right. We shoot this show out of Salt Lake City.
Yes, we do.
In case you are listening from different parts around the world, that's where we're at, Salt Lake City, Utah, in the United States. We're very close to the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
We are.
As compared to like maybe the...
Austin Grand Prix or Miami.
Or even like the Qatar Grand Prix coming up this week. We're not close to that one.
We're not close. That might be the furthest.
Yeah. But if you are in the Salt Lake, Utah area, and if you want to, coming up on October 21st, it's a Saturday, there's a Cars and Coffee at a place called The Grid in Utah.
Yeah.
It's this cool indoor karting facility. It's all electric. Really neat.
I believe it's the second largest indoor karting facility in the world. Which is cool.
Which is really cool. And we're going to be there. You can come say hi to us. It's going to be a Cars and Coffee meet in the morning. I think it's like Halloween themed. There might be a trunk or treat option. So if you want to bring your kids, you might get some candy.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be fun. But speaking of Halloween, I got a question that we can discuss. I can bring it up.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
I might do this throughout the whole of October, but we'll do some Halloween themed. This came in from a listener named Brittany.
Okay.
She asked for some Halloween themed questions about the drivers.
Some spooky things.
Spooky things.
Okay, spooky
maybe
stuff.
spooky, but maybe Halloween themed. This one's not spooky.
A little bit spooky.
Unless you think sugar is spooky.
A little bit.
What would be the driver's favorite Halloween candy to get trick-or-treating?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not spooky.
Just starting at the top.
Starting with less spooky, and maybe we'll get spookier as the episodes go closer to Halloween.
I feel okay. All right.
So Max Verstappen, we'll start there.
Saltwater taffy.
Why?
Because it just
doesn't like flavor.
Just kind of like it's lovely, simply lovely.
This is the worst Max Verstappen. Like an old British guy. Simply lovely. Get me some more saltwater taffy.
I don't know.
Vanilla flavored.
Yeah, exactly. What did Dutch people? What's a Dutch candy?
A stroopwafel?
Yeah, I don't know. A Belgian waffle.
Yeah, something like that.
So maybe some chocolate.
Yeah, Dutch chocolate. That seems like a thing. Belgian chocolate.
Yeah.
Do they make chocolate?
I think they do.
If you are in Belgium and you are mad that we don't know if you make chocolate.
They do.
Yeah. Who's in second of the World Driver Championship? Sergio.
Lewis. Oh, no, it is Sergio. It is Checo.
Yeah, what's Checo getting for his Halloween treat?
Elote.
What is elote?
It is a corn. You know in Nacho Libre where he's like, get the corn out of my face. That's elote.
That's good.
Yeah, so he was elotes.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
And third, Lewis Hamilton. What is a British candy?
Cadbury. Yeah, I feel like that's Cadbury Flake.
Cadbury Flake.
He wants the messiest candy bar ever.
No, I would say Lewis is a bit of a rogue, a maverick.
Okay.
He likes bright colors.
Oh, okay.
He likes purple. I would say he's getting one of those nerd gummy cluster things.
Oh.
Have you had those? Like,
yeah, they're so good.
That's what I think Lewis is getting.
Okay. He likes okay.
They're purple.
Yeah.
That's kind of like his themed color, like his brand color.
Yellow or purple.
Yellow
Depends
or
on the year. Yeah.
So that's my suggestion for Lewis.
Okay. I'm going Cadbury. You go Nerd Rope.
Nerd Rope. Nerd gummy clusters.
Okay. Nerd gummy clusters.
I have good authority that
CBD
is
approved.
an CBD approved. You can get the CBD ones. Special order.
Special order.
This is a good also trivia to see who's in order of the World Driver Championship.
Oh,
who's
yeah, it
in
is.
fourth?
Fernando.
What's Fernando getting?
Ooh, España. I feel like Spain would be one of those countries where they'd be like, we do not drink or drink.
But we've mentioned how he is the spicy Spaniard.
Yeah.
Hot tamales.
Yeah. Cinnamon bears.
Cinnamon bears. He's kind of a cute guy.
Yeah.
Kind of an old candy. He's the oldest one on the grid.
Yeah. So maybe saltwater taffies for him.
Some cinnamon saltwater taffies. This is seriously the worst.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Something spicy. Spicy candy.
Now I am looking up Formula One just to see the driver standings. Fifth is Carlos Sainz.
Oh, Carlos Sainz from Jerez.
I'm going to
Just kidding, not
say
from
Reese's. I know it's not a European thing. Spaniards probably hate peanut butter and chocolate together.
Okay.
Something about him.
Yeah.
That's just my vote. I love Reese's. I'm
Yeah.
also loving Carlos lately.
Yeah, totally. I'm Carlos Sainz.
He's a savory.
Yeah.
He's warm and cozy.
Yeah. What is he?
He's not a spicy Spaniard. He is a warm and cozy kind of and that voice.
Is Kermit the Frog?
It is like it's a very chocolatey, peanut buttery voice. It is very peanut butter on the back of your tongue.
He's got a frog in his throat from having too much peanut butter.
That's my vote.
Yeah, Carlos Sainz. Carlos, I'm gonna go with Good and Plenty's.
Ooh, gross.
Because he likes that like black licorice with the candy coating.
Does he?
He's like alternative. He's like a little too alternative. You're like, dude, you should stick to the...
That is an old person treat for sure.
Yeah, but he's like Carlos Sainz Jr., so he's got like those like weird hand-me-downs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Next is
Chucky
Leckler. What do sad people eat?
He loves Jawbreakers.
just sitting in a corner,
sits in his
sucking
mouth.
an egg.
There's no like motion for a Jawbreaker. It's just
yeah.
And I think that might be like the thick neck photo.
Yeah, or just a sad candy, like one of those awful peanut marshmallows.
Oh.
The marshmallow in the shape of the peanut. It's just you're sad when you get it. Because you're like hoping that it was a candy.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got a candy. Oh,
yeah, I got a rock.
Charles Leclerc, every race is like, I'm hoping for points. I'm hoping to win. And it's Ferrari. Lando Norris.
Oh.
He's a child.
He is a child.
He doesn't like things.
He likes dum-dums.
Dum-dums. Or like...
the smallest sucker available.
Like what is a 4-year-old like? Dum-dums. Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
M&Ms.
Yeah. Tiny M&Ms, like the M&M minis.
Right down the road candies.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
He's not venturing outside of what he had when he was 5.
No, this is the impulse buy section at a grocery store only.
Yeah.
Right at the register.
George Russell. He has
something terrible.
It's just salt and vinegar fries.
This is Chups. He
Yeah.
just likes Chups spray.
Yeah.
Oh,
He just wants a Scotch egg.
Yeah, he's
That's it. Just like, no, he would ask for a fruitcake or
Just-
like a pound cake.
yeah, he's like, I love those.
Can you mail me one?
I love those. It's rather good.
If I can't have a Scotch egg,
Yeah.
can you please mail me a fruitcake?
Would you send me a lemon sherbet? I want a lemon sherbet, please.
Yeah.
How about some chewits?
Some custard. I don't want anything too sweet.
It's just all lemon,
Just a lemon.
a bit bitter.
I'll put some salt and vinegar on it.
I'll have it with my tea.
I'll put it in my tea. It'll be my treat.
Yeah, it'll warm my soul.
I think that's a lemon.
Yeah, it's just a lemon. He just wants a lemon.
Oscus piastris. He's having Tim Tams.
Yeah, probably.
That's a classic Aussie thing.
We're just gonna go with an easy
Run of the
one.
mill.
Yeah,
He's not doing anything too crazy.
didn't venture out too hard.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
Never heard of peanut butter.
Last the best of all the top 10. Lance Stroll. What's that Canadian
He
eating?
just wants maple. Just wants syrup.
Just wants some syrup. No, all he wants for Halloween is just his dad's love.
Yeah, it's just Lance, if you could have anything,
What do you want
For
for
Halloween,
this? What's your treat?
what's it?
I just want you to say you love me.
I just want my dad to say he loves me.
Not this year.
Not
This year.
too many crashes. Oh, poor Lance.
Okay, next week we'll have another Halloween themed question.
Ooh.
But thank you for writing that in and getting us off on a good start. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Brittany.
All right. Moving on to news.
News.
Yes.
Are you ready for the dirt this week on Nerd News with Mike?
New news with Mike.
New intro song for that.
I like the news. I like the math. I like the cars and the parts and everyone on the track. I like.
Oh, I hope you write that for real someday.
Well, we've recorded it, so we have the demo.
Just play that every week. Just that version.
Do it.
All right. We're going to start off on a somber note because from there it gets a little better.
Okay.
But the update is because we've just been, it's every week. We have to update every week.
Mhm.
The news out of Milton Keynes this week is that Daniel Ricciardo will not be returning at Qatar.
Dang it.
After doing a simulator test, the team and him have both decided that he is not ready and that the new target has been set for Austin.
He better make a big grand entrance at
Which
his home race.
we are now into October,
Yeah.
and we have Qatar this weekend on the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after that is
A non-race week.
A non-race week. And then after that is the U.S. Grand Prix
And that's when we'll see him.
and the Haas upgrade, right?
The Haas upgrade and the Daniel Ricciardo upgrade with
And
the
the-
Luke Skywalker hand.
Yes. With the glove. Just one black glove. I'd love that, actually. It'd be so
That'd
great.
be so rad.
Daniel,
better.
do it.
He better.
So, Daniel, we're hoping that is true.
Mhm.
Don't
Do
play
those
with our heart anymore.
I'm guessing those simulators have realistic feedback.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they...
and they can crank and adjust it to kind of what kind of intensity it can do and what kind of pain threshold that creates.
Yeah.
And so, after that test, it just seemed like it was still a bad idea.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully we see him soon.
Hopefully he comes back soon. Moving on to the next item of business of news. The Andrettis were finally approved
Yeah.
for the 11th team bid into Formula One via the FIA. Now, what that means, though,
Okay.
is that they're not guaranteed it.
Oh.
Because now the teams and the sport have to say, yes, this is good for us to have an 11th team. And it is the Andretti General Motors Cadillac partnership.
Oh, so it has to be like a unanimous vote from every team?
Pretty much. Or at least majority.
From the cool guys.
It
Christian and Toto.
has to be Toto and Christian's stamp of approval.
You have to
And
be
they're
in
like,
the top
Fred,
of the group.
You're not just Toto and Christian. We get the cheer Ferrari, but
Yeah.
no. The other two get the Drive to Survive airtime.
Interesting. So when I see all that news blast go around, they're not in just yet.
It is not official. until the teams approve it.
Oh, wow.
And so the FIA have said yes and have turned away, I believe, 4 or 5 other entrants who have all done the same amount of legwork as Andretti.
What was cool is Andretti, and is it going to be Cadillac?
Cadillac is the partner with them.
But it's going to be a Cadillac power unit?
I believe that the power unit is supposedly going to be a Renault. They don't have this firmed up yet.
Oh, but this is all hearsay.
Yeah, and it was that they were going to license Renault's technology and brand it a Cadillac power unit.
Interesting.
I'm sure that there would be opportunities for development further beyond that.
Can I already suggest a partnership for Andretti and Cadillac with Snoop Dogg and call the car the Snoop DeVille?
Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Would that be the best American partnership?
It would be the best
celebrity endorsement.
It would have to have dubs.
That's okay. We can put spinners on those rims.
20-inch wheels as opposed to 18s.
Uh-huh.
And spinners. Man, this just got really dope all of a sudden. I was really anti this, but now I'm on board. I think that it's interesting. What are your thoughts when you hear that as like another U.S. team this time?
Well, already I'm kind of like, they're already taking the thunder away from Haas, who's been there since day one.
Right. Before it was popular.
It's been Ferrari and Haas, the longest in the sport. No, but like they've been the American team since I've been watching.
Right.
They were the first ones to like Netflix in. It's like because of them,
it was
Drive to Survive had a show.
And it was such a gamble. I mean, we've talked about this since the very beginning.
I'm piecing this together right now.
Yeah.
That because of Haas, Netflix actually had something to film.
Right.
Because no other big teams, they're so paranoid.
It was Red Bull.
They don't want to give any
It was Red Bull
secrets.
and Haas. And it's because Red Bull's a marketing company.
Yeah.
With a drink.
Yeah.
They're not a drink company. They're a marketing company with a small can of something.
Yeah. And Haas just needed attention. And Drive to Survive has then kicked off millions of new fans.
It's because of Gunter.
Can we just recognize that now?
The reason that this has been so successful is because of Gunter Steiner.
Yeah.
We have to give him that credit.
Yeah.
It's all them.
Yeah. Anyway, and for Andretti to kind of come in and everyone be stoked on it, like it's like, the American team, it's like we have one.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, also I'm stoked for 2 more seats.
Right.
For drivers to be coming into the sport.
Right.
And then also another team to be shaking it up on the grid.
Right.
See how good it is.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and over my shoulder again, if you're watching on the YouTube.
Watch on the YouTube.
This white and black car sitting right here on the shelf is Mario Andretti. And I'm like, look, we're associating a name that is so iconic in racing with Formula One again. And it seems to me like that's natural. I think a lot of the teams will draw that conclusion that the Andretti name sort of does belong in Formula One. Right now it's in Formula E and IndyCar. And it hasn't, I think they even have an Extreme E team, or there's a couple of different places that Andretti are racing.
Extreme E?
Which is an off-road racing series, electric. Overall, at this point, we're so far in the process where turning the Andrettis away won't look good for the sport.
Yeah.
It's better for the sport to accept General Motors, to accept Andretti, and to give them the chance.
Yeah.
And let them fail. At all, if that's where it goes. They have to kind of allow that to be the case.
Yeah.
I think it's very probably well known and understood by everyone on the grid that the Andrettis are not going to come in and dominate. They're not going to come in and take over the sport. They're competing with Red Bull and Mercedes and Ferrari and these teams that are dumping millions and tons of years of research and development into cars.
Yeah.
Those first few years are really hard on a new F1 team.
Yeah.
And although they've been racing forever, this is something that's going to be a huge challenge.
Yeah.
So ultimately, at the end of the day,
it's not a big threat.
Not a huge threat.
Yeah, they might be worried about money being dispersed,
prize money,
more thinly.
But at the end of the day, the sport has become massively popular.
Yeah, you have so much coming in from sponsors and junk. Like
it's changed so much.
Teams are worth so much now.
That real estate is so different.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's worth it to put up that fight.
Yeah.
It's like, just let them come in and participate. Let's see how it goes.
Who is is Mario Andretti still alive?
Mario is still alive.
He's the owner of the whole thing.
Mario, I think is yes, but Michael runs it. So his son.
Okay. Would Michael be the team principal?
Probably. I mean,
I'm just curious.
No, I would imagine.
Would he be the Toto of Andretti?
I mean, right now, Michael participates at every IndyCar race. He's always on the pit wall for one of his drivers.
Oh.
And so, but like Zach Brown, Andrea Stella is the team principal at McLaren and Zach Brown's the CEO.
Yeah, but Zach Brown is the team principal. That's what it feels like.
Right.
He's always in the pit. He's on the wall and he's...
Right.
Yeah.
He's kind of in the way. So I feel like...
he's always just in the way.
Just move, Zach.
Yeah, that's for real.
So I feel like Michael will probably play a similar role where he's a commercial face a lot, and there's likely going to be a team principal assigned. And there might be somebody who's already been given that as like a nod, but so far nothing firm.
I say I'm excited. Yeah. I hope Haas doesn't get overshadowed.
I don't think they will. I think it's a good opportunity for the both of them to kind of fist bump.
Yeah.
And say, we're the American teams. Let's do this.
I mean, we're going to have to dilute our home race.
Yeah.
We have 3 home races.
Totally.
And now we're going to have to share one of them.
At least one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think it's good. I think it's a good thing.
Cool.
Ultimately. All right.
More chances for crashes.
Yeah, totally. All right. Now on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And this one is so crazy. This is the biggest news this week, in my opinion. So right now, ESPN is the network that holds the rights to broadcasting Formula One in the United States.
Okay.
The contract with Formula One to broadcast in the US, which is a rebroadcast for those of you overseas that might not be aware of this, we get to see the Sky Sports broadcast on ESPN in the States. They aren't putting different people in front of us. We get Brundle, Crofty. We have the same team.
And if we're lucky, Rosberg.
Yeah. And every week they tell us that we can push a red button and get a bunch of onboards. And no, we can't. We don't have that feature.
Yeah.
Because we are not Sky Glass customers. Okay. But that contract at the moment is currently estimated in value by Forbes at $75 million to $90 million a year.
Wow.
So Disney, Hulu, ESPN are paying out $75 to $90 million a year for F1 television rights in the United States.
Okay.
There's a new player in the game that has entered the chat and has put a bid in for the television rights for Formula One at $2 billion annually.
Is it MTV?
Apple.
I was just going to say Nickelodeon. Apple, of course.
Apple wants their piece of the pie.
Wow. What does this mean?
So what's interesting about this is obviously...
I'll have to get like an Apple subscription.
Yeah, Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
But here's where this has become super interesting for Apple. Apple right now has Major League Baseball on Friday nights. Okay. So Friday Night Baseball is on Apple TV.
Right.
They have Major League Soccer. And I think they've started to dabble and dip their toe into other sports. Major League Soccer has been a huge success for Apple.
Right.
They did not expect that, I don't think, but they kind of, an attempt at live sport television on their platform has gone really well.
Right.
Formula One's one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want their piece?
Yeah.
Apple's making the Brad Pitt movie with executive producer Lewis Hamilton on Formula One.
Okay. Yeah.
And is now interested in doing live television.
Steve Jobs, he's a massive fan of Formula One.
The best part of that actually is that Apple has only sponsored a race car once in history.
Yes, we all know what it was.
Do you?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was Lightning McQueen. And Pixar.
And it was a Pixar movie. He crossed the finish line with his tongue out like Michael Jordan.
What was it? I know that there was a Porsche 944 that had the Apple logo on it at one point.
It wasn't a 944.
What was it?
It was a slant-nose turbo Porsche 935.
So I was in the world of Porsche.
Yep. In 1979, this car was the Hawaiian Tropic red Porsche 935 slant nose race car. It raced at Le Mans, and almost no one can tell you who won in 1979. You want to know why?
Because no one cared.
Because Paul Newman finished second.
Oh.
And Paul Newman was driving the Hawaiian Tropic 935 Porsche.
So he was driving this car and got second. Of course.
And which got the attention of everybody.
I mean, if Brad Pitt wins second at Le Mans, who cares who won first?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It would be all of the news. Nothing different here with Paul Newman.
Mm-hmm.
More than the Brad Pitt of his era. He's still the raddest guy ever.
Yeah.
So he gets second.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this catches the attention of everybody in the world. And Apple goes, well, maybe we should try our hands sponsoring a race car. Get the one that Paul Newman finished second in. Go sponsor that.
Yeah.
And they did. And it had the worst season ever. The car didn't win or place or do anything. The car had such a struggle. And Apple swore off of racing ever since.
Oh, geez. Sore losers.
And then the car was...
Steve Jobs doesn't like to be a loser. We know that.
The car was purchased and then repainted the Hawaiian Tropic red.
Oh, went back to
and
its...
brought back to it. I actually have pictures of that car, and we can post it for the episode. I love that car. It's one of my favorite things I've photographed.
Nice.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, we'll throw that up on the episode on Instagram.
Very, very cool piece of history. So anyways, it would be a bummer to have to get an Apple subscription to watch F1.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be not great.
Uh-huh.
But it could also be really interesting if it's the same globally and not a Sky Glass customer.
Yeah.
I don't know what this all means. I don't know if it's US only.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that could be up for grabs in this.
This does not surprise me at all.
How come? I'm curious.
Well, it has nothing to do with the money. Has nothing to do with the fact that they're going to be getting a lot of subscribers because there's so many fans. Nothing to do with that. We all know how happy and excited Tim Cook was when waving that flag in Coda.
I knew you were going there. I was like, somehow this is going to come back to Tim Cook.
It was like watching a kid fireworks on the 4th of July or like Christmas presents on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
I had never seen someone so excited. And you just saw true love happening between him and this sport. You knew he went home and was like, I just had a life-changing experience. Watch the footage. My face shows how much I am changing. And we need to own this.
I have to own it. F1 Apple. F1.
If you don't think I'm serious, look at my face while I'm waving that flag.
I need Lewis Hamilton to have an Apple Silicon race car. The most powerful race car ever designed. We're going to bring Johnny Ive back. And he's going to, every time we kick off a new race car, he's going to do the voiceover for do you know who Johnny Ive is?
No, I'm
Johnny
lost
Ive.
now.
He's the British guy that always did when they would do the keynotes. Everyone who's listening is going to know who I'm talking about, except for you, Max.
This is why it's called Nerd News, because I don't watch the keynotes and then just get into the speakers.
Johnny Ive was like the king of, he designed the iMac with like the color and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
And so anyways, like the color back.
Yeah,
but Johnny Ive became my favorite person ever because like he introduced the Magic Mouse, which is the worst designed product
is it
ever.
The charge underneath it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've always said that like it's a revolutionary design. I found a pebble at the bottom of a river, and water had cascaded over it for decades.
Now we know how Adrian Newey's designing cars.
Yeah, he just is following whatever Johnny Ive has clearly done.
Car in the river and watches the water pour over it.
It's essentially air, but wet.
Tim Cook loves Formula One, and we have the video evidence.
He has been addicted ever since he waved that flag, and has been dying for more.
That was the highlight of his life. And you can see it in his face.
It is clearly written all over him. And so
that's exciting.
Apple,
weird.
Kind of weird.
Everyone wants a piece of this pie.
It does.
It's crazy.
But the jump, I mean, the thing for me was the jump. 90 million a year right now is what ESPN is paying.
Yeah, what did they up
billion.
it by like 200%?
Yeah, it's like that is just a fat jump.
Yeah, you can't say no to that. That's like
it's
we
a
have
guarantee.
the money and we are buying this.
Right.
You can't say no to this.
Right, which is just insanity to me. So in the future, it looks like Apple might have the rights to Formula One, at least in the US, which is just the craziest thing.
time to shift gears. I still know what we're talking about, so the new segment will now begin with Mike telling us what it is.
Well, basically today, I just wanted to talk to you about some things that I think that are in the works.
Okay.
Now, I mean, we've talked about it a couple of times, and it seems as though there's a little bit of it is probably unfair to Checo, but where he currently is.
We want to have a discussion about Sergio's performance.
And just sort of where everything is, what's on the table now.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw like a quote from him today. I don't know when it came out, but he's basically just saying like, hey, like George Russell will lose a race and no one bats an eye. I lose a race and everyone jumps on my back, kind of a thing.
Right.
And he's like, hey, well, like it's not fair.
Right.
But I think it is kind of fair. I
mean, and for sure, George Russell gets a lot of flack.
Yeah.
And we've been guilty of making fun of George, but we also recognize a number of factors.
It's a huge target.
Well,
it's hard to miss that. I think Sergio, one of his points is that like, all media sources are all talking about how he isn't performing like Max. It's all the time. It's constant. Right. And I was like, well, yeah, you're in that Red Bull and your teammate is like crushing everyone into the ground.
Right.
And when you have a performance like you did at Suzuka, and it's not necessarily out of the ordinary from what you've been performing lately anyway.
Right.
It's like, then you are worthy of all that criticism.
Of course you're the target.
Because you're on the best team and you're in the best car.
There's only 2 cars.
No one is really paying attention to Valtteri Bottas right now.
No.
Because Alfa Romeo's at the back.
Right.
I'm sure one of them is performing better than the other.
Right.
And who cares?
And no one's too interested in that at the moment.
Yeah.
But when it's the car that's winning by 30 seconds or not finishing, there's a stark contrast.
Yeah. Holy cow.
And so, and again, to even just play this a little bit, George Russell has finished near Lewis all season.
He's been neck and neck with Lewis.
It's like his consistency is there.
Yeah.
He's not missing the qualifying appearances the way that Sergio has.
Yeah.
This is a very harsh comparison. It would have been better or more fair to compare him to Valtteri's last season at Mercedes, where Valtteri was taking a lot of heat for not making his Q3 appearances and whatever. But you could almost kind of tell that he was winding down. He knew he didn't have the job the next season. And they were excluding him from meetings and whatever. They were kind of doing it to themselves.
Yeah.
But in this way, Sergio's like, he's got the team backing him. They want him to finish second.
Yeah.
Red Bull has never had a 1-2 finish in the championship.
Ooh, yeah.
This is their shot.
Uh-huh.
Because next year's car someone might match him.
It's obvious you could crush it.
Yeah. And so get second.
Yeah. Because Lewis is 30 points behind Checo right now.
That's it.
We've mentioned last week he is crept up real quick. And it doesn't seem out of the order. Like, it doesn't seem unfeasible for him to take that from Checo.
When Lewis Hamilton is within striking distance of something, he turns into Bruce the shark when Dory smashes her nose in Finding Nemo.
Lots of Pixar references to this episode.
This is a Pixar episode. Brought to you by Disney. Hulu, ESPN Plus. Once that blood can be smelt, that is his motivation. It's his drive.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned the other day about the cool down room and Lewis was ignoring the other guys. And I was like, that's the Lewis.
Right.
Because before he was all kind of pally-pal.
Like, oh, it's
he
amazing.
He wasn't really in the points.
No. And when he'd get a podium last year, it was like, this is a freaking miracle. I'm standing here.
Yeah. He's like, like talking with people.
Yeah.
Now he's back to being ice cold.
Yeah. Because he knows
it's playing
it's
mind
happening.
Games. Yeah.
He's like, it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm back in the fight.
Yeah.
And so once that happens, the Lewis of old has returned.
Yeah. Little observational point is that George Russell's performing neck and neck with Lewis. And I would guarantee that car is being built around Lewis.
Yeah.
So George Russell is driving a car not built for him.
Right.
Equally as well as Lewis is almost,
right.
Whereas Sergio can't figure out that car that's being built more towards Max. Like he's in a similar secondary seat position.
Right.
That's another reason why the scrutiny is so applicable to him.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, and I think there's a number of factors where I've had my speculation over the years. that Red Bull has never been able to support driver number 2. It goes as far back as Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel, up through the current standings with Max and Sergio, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly. Anyone who's been in the second car.
Daniel Ricciardo left because he was feeling it. He's like, it's going to switch.
And he was so bummed that the car had zero reliability.
Yeah.
It blew up on him almost every week.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a number of factors that play into this. But the reality is for Sergio is that at the end of the day, his target has to be P2. If he can't finish second in the championship, in my opinion, the deal is done.
Yeah.
I don't see Sergio returning to the seat next year. You can call this prediction next year.
Ooh.
That if Sergio does not finish second in the championship, Red Bull replaces him.
Wow. That exit door is miles wide. It's easy to walk through.
To me, at this stage of the game, and to some degree, Formula One's interest as a sport. If P2 is this bad, and the sport has lost, they just had a statistic that came out this week that social media engagement for Formula One has dropped over 20% this season alone.
Because there's not a battle?
There's no battle. It's just Max running away with it.
Yeah.
And because they've had such a loss, you can't tell me that Liberty Media is not knocking on the door at Red Bull being like, what are you guys doing? That's at least give us something interesting to watch.
I hate that so much.
But
it kind of irks me to be like, is this going to be scripted in the future?
Is this WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But in some ways, it's in the sport's best interest to be like, hey, Christian Horner, fun that you're running away with the championship, but do you think you could at least make it interesting? And again, this is nothing against Sergio.
Yeah.
Because maybe there is some development away from him or whatever. But the point is that they're like, well, can you find another driver that can drive like Max?
Yeah.
Has the same style.
And they have this Daniel Ricciardo kind of in the wings who's driven that car pretty well before.
And could have put it on the front row in Silverstone on lap 7 or whatever that was, that statistic from his test.
Yeah.
There's almost, in my eyes, it's almost a guarantee, especially if he doesn't finish second in the championship.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier today, and we talked about it on the podcast, Red Bull is such a marketing company.
Right.
They're so
that's what they're great at.
People being into their brand.
Right.
So we have all these eyes looking at Red Bull.
Right.
And when you have one driver at the back, and one at the front, it's not good.
Well, and when you've developed, one of the things that's crazy interesting is the number of drivers on the grid who were Red Bull drivers.
Yeah. And they're all doing better than Checo.
Right. It's like Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz Jr. and Max Verstappen, obviously Daniel Ricciardo. Half the grid are Red Bull juniors. It's not like they have a shortage of talent. And then on top of it, they have Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. Now, the other factor in all of this is that Liam just agreed to being a reserve driver, even though he said no seat next year is non-negotiable. I want a seat next year. I deserve it. And so it's not an option for me not to have a seat. Those were his words.
This is Liam?
Liam Lawson said that.
Wow.
And he accepted a reserve spot after saying that. And Daniel and Yuki re-signed at AlphaTauri. But we know Red Bull contracts and we know Red Bull seats.
Yeah, they play musical chairs.
My bet and my money is on that Liam Lawson was told it's only a matter of time. Daniel moves in. The seat at AlphaTauri opens up. It's yours. Be patient.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against you.
So that's my first prediction. Heavy prediction from this episode. Well, and then to go along with that, as we were talking about how Lewis has begun his ascent.
What did you call him today? Lewis, man on fire?
He's a man on fire.
That's a good image.
He's a man on a mission.
Is this what we're going to talk about now?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
If you're a listener of the show.
Yep.
You
know where Max is going with this.
Well, no, I don't know. You're noticing a trend.
Right.
That we used to be very anti-Lewis.
Right.
But consistent with our principles.
Right. Which is that winning too much is winning too much.
Winning too much is winning too much. And Lewis was an easy target to hate.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he was annoying.
Well, and
winning so much and being humble about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so mean.
No, but
it was just annoying.
Imagine listening to the same actor win an Academy Award every year.
Yeah.
And give the same speech.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Is Lewis coming? Thanks to everyone back at the factory.
And
It's
we're
like,
just like,
oh gosh.
he didn't seem very fun on podiums because it's like, this is my 800th podium.
Yeah, it's like,
okay,
all right.
great.
And it's like, I can't blame him.
Yeah.
I can't blame him for not being able to reinvent the magic.
And I think we
after
have
a while.
said in previous podcasts that it would be fun to see Lewis battling for his life in Formula One.
Right.
And we're seeing it now.
It's finally happened.
Yeah, and
It's been great.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm down.
And he's locked into a fight with Fernando Alonso of all arch rivals from Lewis's past.
Yes.
He's locked into a fight with Sergio Perez, who's having a hard time at the moment and may very well give up second place to Lewis.
Thing, we know Lewis has ice in his veins. He doesn't make a mistake.
No.
On or off the grid.
Right. No.
And if Sergio is making a mistake off the grid, Lewis isn't.
Locked in.
And he's going to take advantage of that.
It is like textbook, like I said, smell the blood, and he is missile locked on. That's his target.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I know that like this hasn't been exactly like an interview question for Lewis. Are you aiming for second place? Because everyone knows Lewis is aiming for second place.
Yeah.
If there's anything that this dude wants in this world currently is to say, I am second place. McLaren has the second fastest car. I managed second place in the championship to Max, who beat me in 2021. Whether you see that as fair or not is up for debate. I'm still second place in the freaking championship with third or fourth fastest car.
Yeah. He's determined.
He has a lot to prove with sending that statement in my mind. And if he can do it, it will be as impressive as winning a championship against Massa in 2008 in a McLaren when the Ferrari was the fastest car.
Right.
Overcoming what the Mercedes can do to get second in the championship may be the most impressive thing this year.
Yeah.
Out of anybody.
Yeah.
Because it snuck up on us.
It snuck up real quick.
It's like, wait, you've been so consistent. How did you get here?
Yeah.
You haven't won anything.
Exactly. And this goes back to those fights now we've seen with George Russell.
Right.
Why are they fighting? They're teammates. It's like, because Lewis has a mission.
And he's
going to get it.
He's going to get there.
He knows what he's doing.
Interesting. George was on Beyond the Grid this week. He was the interview with Tom Clarkson.
Oh, yeah. That's why I didn't care or know.
That's why no one listened. And I saw it come up and I was like, didn't you have an interview last year? So I went back and looked. Sure enough, George had an interview June last year.
I guarantee that George's mom called up Tom Clarkson. I was like, you haven't talked to my son George lately. He's been really nice.
Have
He's
you
a really
seen his
good
stat? Have you seen his stat lately?
He has a really cute girlfriend.
Have you met her? Have you had her over
She's
for tea?
real.
She's real. She plays paddle. Have you seen her?
We've taught George some new jokes.
It'd be a great time. Lovely interview.
Yeah.
And you haven't had a good interview this year, Tom, if I'm honest.
No one that's better than my boy George.
No one has a good interview like George. You need to have George on.
Anyway, so Tom was talking with George.
It was interesting. And I mean, I always give George credit where credit's due. He's good with his words. He's smart when it comes to like an interview scenario. I think of the car, he's a dweeb and he says the wrong things. And even in this scenario, he still has some overconfident statements, things that I wouldn't say.
His overconfidence is, very real.
Very stupid sometimes.
Very blatant.
And he's like, I have to be measured against one of the greatest drivers of all time every week. He's like, everybody else on the grid has teammates. He's like, I have a 7-time champ.
He's not wrong.
And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
That's a really good point.
And he's like, and I haven't sank. He's like, I am swimming.
You're
He's
right.
like, I'm treading water at times. He's like, but I haven't been so far behind that everyone's questioning me.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that has done wonders for my confidence. And I'm like,
okay, we didn't need that.
Right.
We didn't need more confidence in George.
Yeah, exactly. We get it, shirt off guy. You love yourself.
Yeah.
Good. So some of what George said that was interesting.
I'm ready for a fast one. Hot take.
Was that Mercedes has to overcome a massive obstacle to win a championship next season.
Yep.
If that's their goal, they have to make up more than the gap to Red Bull because they have to develop past Red Bull.
Yeah, you have to be faster than the car.
You have to literally be faster than any lap that Max can do currently.
Yep.
Which means that
otherwise he's going to be first.
Right. And so but
if you don't know how races work,
you're the worst. You're the worst.
Gotcha.
But the gap to Red Bull is huge.
It's huge.
Which means that the development curve for Mercedes to be able to pull that off is like every egg in the basket.
We've talked about how it's hard to even develop one little 1,000th of a second.
Right.
And now they have to do like 5 seconds.
They literally have to be like,
seconds.
Yeah, they're going to have to be warp speed.
Yeah.
They have to go to Plaid next year.
Yeah, they're doing
to beat Max. So with that development curve in mind, Mercedes have their target set. I'm curious though, like, how does Mercedes politicize the FIA to make sure that Nico Rosberg continues to influence the races so that way Mercedes dominates, with Nico Rosberg say.
Is Rosberg coming back like Jordan to win again?
To make sure that Mercedes wins, but only with his blessing.
Do you think Rosberg sits at home and he's like, if I were to return, I would win a championship. I know it. And I don't need to prove it to anyone. But I am Michael Jordan of Formula One.
I could do it.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen would be eating out of my hand.
What was your original question?
I don't have one. It's gone.
I do think Rosberg would be the guy to come back and win.
You think? Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
Tell me why.
Just the hair, the confidence. Lewis has, of course he wants to win another championship. He needs to be the 8th time winning world championship. The most winning of all time.
That's what he wants.
Right now he's tied with Michael Schumacher. Can't do anything about it.
Right.
He needs to do something a little bit better.
Imagine this. Imagine that 2024 gives us all of the things that we want. And we have Aston Martin, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull. That there's 5 teams fighting for the championship.
Yeah.
Who, we know who the driver number 1 of each of those teams are.
Yeah. Because if Mercedes has figured it out, good chance Ferrari, McLaren, and Aston Martin figure it out.
Everybody else is in that fight. And it comes down to driver. And that's what we want to see.
And then my money is on Lewis and Alonso.
It is. Yeah. I do think that Max can be thrown into that mix.
Yeah, for sure.
I am curious to see how he would cope.
Yeah.
Because right now, dominant Max is a different dude.
Yeah, 2021 Max was scary.
He was unhinged. That dude was crashing into Lewis every week.
And even Lewis was crashing into him, but Max caused a lot of them.
Yeah,
Lewis caused a lot of them.
It was banging wheels every week.
Yeah, Lewis, but they were different crashes.
Yes.
Lewis's are sneaky.
Yes.
And it's like, ooh.
Oh, I understeered. Sorry, you had a 56G impact.
Whereas Max was like dive bombing.
Yeah. Max is like, if you crash into me right now, I will land on you.
Yeah. Like either, because if I don't hurt you, my dad will hurt me. And that will be even worse.
I don't want to go home.
You don't know what it's like.
You don't know what it's like, Lewis.
I would rather die in this crash than face my dad at the end of this race. And so that's the differences between those crashes. So Max would be a contender in that in a different way, but it would be Lewis and Alonso. If all things equal, that'd be a wild season.
I mean, and if Charles had his moments, it'd be great to see. If Carlos has his moments, it'd be great to see. Lando
Ferrari out there.
Throw it in there. But I know that if we had 5 cars fighting for the title, the 3 drivers at the top would be Max, Fernando, and Lewis. There's no question to me.
Yeah.
Nobody else is in that mix. It's just those 3.
Yeah.
And so if they were on equal terms, those 3 they would put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like I got to hope for.
Yeah. Right now we're watching Lewis. We're going to call him the man on fire right now.
I think our prediction has got to be.
Let's watch that closely.
Yeah.
These last, 6 races?
Yeah.
Do we have 6 races left?
How many do we got?
These last 6, 7, 8 races.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And there's none in December.
No.
So we have 6 races to go.
6
Watch
races.
it closely.
Man, that's happening fast.
We did a little poll on our Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think will take second in the World Driver Championship? By the time you listen to this, the results will be out. So you've already seen it. If you follow us on Instagram, fastones.us.
Do it.
Follow us. But right now, the polling, we have Lewis at 60% of the votes taking it, Sergio at 40% of the votes taking it. So
it seems like most everyone is in line with what we're thinking right now.
yeah, I mean, most people have seen Lewis race before.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually think that this season, for all of its lack of interesting moments for the lead, if the Sergio and Lewis fight heats up, we're going to see some really good racing between those two.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah. And Sergio, when he has his moments to shine, when we reflect back to 2021,
the
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the best fight wasn't even Max and Lewis. It was Sergio and Lewis.
Yeah, defending, and then bringing Max up from the rear.
Yeah.
And Sergio was crazy.
Yeah, he was defending like a champ.
Right.
And so I'm like, I would love to see him do that again.
Yeah, but the mind games are getting to Sergio.
They are.
Yeah.
They are, unfortunately. So hopefully he can pull through it.
All good things, all amazing things.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Madness. Qatar Grand Prix this weekend.
Yes. Enjoy it. Enjoy Liam Lawson while you can, because Danny Ricciardo's returning soon.
Yes.
With the American Grand Prix, our other home race.
His other home race.
We're stoked about
Especially the Austin one.
It is.
Seems like he fits in too well there.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. So follow us on Instagram. If you have questions, email us at fastones.us@gmail.com. Everything is fastones.us across the board. So if that makes it easy for you,
yes,
then it's easier for us.
Then it's easy.
Watch us on YouTube. Figure out the cool 90s toy we have on the set. And yeah, we enjoy you guys following us along.
And we'll look forward to talking to you guys after the 6-string Fender Telecaster Qatar Grand Prix.
Oh, is that the official partner for it?
Do you have a 12-string guitar or do you have a 6-string guitar? What do you prefer?
I do like those 12 strings. Lots of harmonies.
You have a 12-string, don't you?
I did, but I strung it to be a 6-string.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
that's amazing. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
One small
Podcast.
George was on Beyond the Grid this week. He was the interview with Tom Clarkson.
Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't care or know.
That's why no one listened. And